Hi, how are ya? I hope you're having a great day. There have been many theories as to what causes fibromyalgia. According to Amir and colleagues in a 2019 study, they stated, quote, the pathophysiology of FM, fibromyalgia, is not well understood, with multiple hypotheses being suggested, including impaired central nervous system nociceptive processing, altered peripheral nociception, we've talked about both of those, and systemic inflammation, unquote. The interaction between the gut microbiota and the central nervous system, called the gut-brain axis, may affect the pain processing and perception in fibromyalgia. Patients with IBS, chronic pelvic pain, ME/CFS, RA, interstitial cystitis, and spondyloarthropathies have shown an important role in microbiota development. Is this a problem in fibromyalgia? What can we do about it? That's what I'd like to talk about today. Several studies have shown issues in the gut health of individuals with fibromyalgia. When our intestinal lining is working right, it controls what gets absorbed into the bloodstream. Just imagine we have over 4,000 square feet of intestinal surface area. If there are cracks or holes in that lining, partially digested food, toxins, and bad bacteria can penetrate into the tissues that surround it. Normal bacteria, called gut flora, is needed to protect us from bad bacteria in the lining of the intestines. Changes in the normal bacteria and inflammation can result and lead to problems in the digestive tract and beyond. Because if it's leaking, it can go outward into the rest of the body. Leaky gut is the term often used to explain this process. About 73% of patients with fibromyalgia have reported gastrointestinal issues, and 37% with osteoarthritis. About 30 to 70% of patients with fibro have IBS, and about 33% of IBS patients also meet the diagnostic criteria for fibro. Then compare that to only 4% in healthy individuals. What is disturbing to me is that about 50% of patients with fibromyalgia also have dyspepsia. That's chronic indigestion, and that can include acid reflux, stomach pain, overfullness, and bloating. It can be a result of eating too much, drinking too much, food intolerance, or taking medication on an empty stomach. In 2004, a link between irritable bowel syndrome and small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, I'll use SIBO, in fibromyalgia was found through the lactulose hydrogen breath test. All 42 patients, 100% with fibromyalgia, had an abnormal breath test compared to 93 of 111, 84% with IBS alone, and 20% of control participants Higher concentrations of hydrogen production were seen in fibro patients, almost double that of IBS. This is suggestive of bacterial overgrowth in the small intestine. Basically, this shows a common link between IBS and fibromyalgia. In 2008, researchers Goebel and colleagues found that of the 40 very sick fibromyalgia participants in their study, 13 showed gastroduodenal permeability and 15 had raised small intestinal permeability, a significant result. Gastroduodenal, which is the stomach and duodenum, that part just below your stomach at the first part of your small intestine. And small intestinal permeability is when the gut allows more than water and nutrients through. They leak potential toxic molecules. In 2011, there was evidence of small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, or SIBO, in IBS patients, and many of us with fibromyalgia have IBS. But it was found to be more common in patients with IBS-D, 37%, compared to IBS-C, 12.5%, and more common than healthy controls. But patients with a history of bloating more often had SIBO, and females were found to have SIBO more often than males at 44%. This is a condition in which the normal colonic flora overgrowth into the small intestine to varying extents causes disruption of normal intestinal bacterial patterns. They also use the glucose breath test and an overnight fast to measure the hydrogen or methane in the breath. Then in 2019, Minervi and colleagues found altered microbiome composition for the first time in fibromyalgia patients. When they compared it to dietary variables, comorbidities, medication, and other variables, the clinical features of fibromyalgia, specifically pain, fatigue, unrefreshed sleep, and cognitive symptoms, explained this microbiome variance. The severity of symptoms also correlated to their symptoms. That was kind of amazing. Several known species that are anti-inflammatory and anti-nociceptive were depleted. Eeks, it's no wonder we hurt. 2 bacterial species that were more abundant in the fibro group have been found to be involved in how the body uses cortisol, that wonderful stress hormone. They used artificial intelligence, genetics, and stool samples to analyze data. This was a large step in discovering that patients with fibromyalgia showed different amounts of species of biometabolizing gut bacteria and bile acids in the blood compared to healthy people, and to correlate our symptoms. More importantly, these differences were so strong that they could be used as an effective biological signature to detect fibromyalgia in individuals. And that brings us closer to the development of an effective treatment option. What isn't known is whether the changes in gut bacteria are just markers of the disease, or actually contribute to or cause the development of fibromyalgia. And another larger study is in the works. Some microbiomes are also depleted in inflammatory arthritis, osteoarthritis, and RA. In addition, higher numbers of other microbiomes were found. Microbiomes are microorganisms that live in your gastrointestinal tract. They're also sometimes referred to as gut flora or gut microbiota. These include bacteria, viruses, protozoa, and also fungi. Now, these are often associated with illness, but they're also important to our health. Having the right ones in the right balance allows our digestive system to work properly. When things are out of balance, it can lead to all kinds of symptoms in the digestive tract and beyond. The brain-gut axis includes the central nervous system, the neuroendocrine system, neuroimmune system, hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis, and the autonomic nervous system. Research has linked dysfunction in all of these systems, and altered gut microbiota has been shown in neurological, psychiatric, metabolic, cardiovascular, and oncologic disorders. The same processes involved in psychiatric and neurologic disorders are found to be present in chronic pain and are believed to also be connected to fibromyalgia. These are the pioneer days of researching this topic. But in a few years, we can hope that doctors will be more confident of these findings. I picked my granddaughter up from high school and take her to work about once a week, sometimes twice. She loves Starbucks, so I pick her up. We generally go to Starbucks. I don't usually get anything, but thought, hey, this last time, I'll get a mocha cappuccino. She ordered it online for me. I drank the whole thing. It was yummy. Very, very good. I got a grande. Or do you say grande? A medium size. Well, I just looked it up just to see what actually was in it. I was horrified. It's no wonder that I had the worst stomach ache I've had in a long time. Since I haven't had sugary things, like in months, I know that was the cause of my stomach pain. I didn't add additional sugar to it. I didn't get whipped cream, but I was concerned about the mocha. What do they put in the mocha? Well, I looked it up. There's sugar in there. And that Frappuccino sauce, there's a lot of sugar in that too. So I just blew it big time. Oh, I also got heavy cream because they were out of almond milk, of all things. But I'll tell you what, I won't do that again. I'll just drink my own mixture of coffee. I put a little bit of 100% cocoa in there to give me that chocolatey flavor. And then I use a little stevia to sweeten it a bit. That stomach pain that I felt all evening and a little into the next day really wasn't worth it. Slowed me down. What caused the pain? Well, sugar feeds that bad bacteria and yeast. I mean, they love it. They eat it up. It causes a buildup of gas that moves slowly through the large intestine. That gas then causes cramping, spasms, and pain. Again, not worth it. And that can lead to bacterial overgrowth. Not at all what I want. Since I have GERD, I have to be very careful because GERD can lead to esophageal or stomach cancer. Do you have gut issues? Do you eat a lot of sugar? How does that affect you? I'm just sincerely curious. Maybe your tolerance is different. I don't know. My husband can eat an occasional sugary item and be just fine, but he doesn't really have a sweet tooth. And I'm sure there are subsets of you who don't have any issues with sugar and don't seem to have any issues with craving it. I don't seem to have that luxury. I have some dental work on Tuesday. Today is Monday, as I'm recording this. So I wanted to get ahead on my videos so that I could keep putting them out for you. And you never know how dental work is going to go, even though, I mean, it's kind of major, but it's not considered surgery. I'm just having some crowns put on my bottom teeth. I've got a lot of chipping, and then my very two back molars, he's hoping to be able to save. So I've been working for the last couple of weeks, not only through the week on researching these videos, but also on the weekends. And I do treasure my weekends with my husband. So I hope I've done this topic justice. To test for leaky gut syndrome, a patient will drink a solution of mannitol and lactulose. These are water-soluble molecules that the body can't use. Urine is tested for 6 hours after. An unhealthy test will show high levels of both mannitol and lactulose. At that point, they will rule intestinal permeability. If low levels of both are found, it indicates poor absorption of all nutrients. Most physicians don't believe this test is reliable, since increased intestinal permeability is a symptom of many diseases and shouldn't be used to diagnose leaky gut. Therefore, a gastroenterologist is recommended to explore all avenues before ruling on leaky gut. You're probably tired of hearing me say, avoid processed foods, high-fat foods, refined oils like vegetable oil, high-sugar foods, and foods that may trigger allergies or sensitivities such as gluten or dairy. But that's what's recommended. Also, alcohol, all that I have mentioned, is known to have an inflammatory effect on the body and will impact our gut flora. Therefore, eating fermented vegetables, roots, fruit, sprouted seeds, fish, cultured dairy products if no sensitivities are present, and nuts. But you can find a few articles that I put in the description below about what to eat or not eat. Probiotics are found to be somewhat helpful in gastrointestinal issues, along with prebiotics and symbiotics. Abdominal pain in all IBS patients has been found to be relieved by probiotics, and it is highly recommended to try it. But other symptoms have a moderate to low result. For example, overall symptoms like bloating, could be tried with a moderate effect in IBS. Overall symptoms of IBS-C is low, but could be considered. And a very low effect on flatus in IBS-D has been found, so there's no evidence it helps. But treatment varies, and it's important to talk to your primary care doctor and or your gastroenterologist for recommendations. So I hope you learned something. I send you gentle hugs and support. Love you. Oh, they quoted, breathtaking. I got puppies wandering around. They leak. Cognitive symptoms. What isn't known is whether the changes in all of these symptoms. She loves Starbat for ruling on leaky gut. Good grief.